Hello everyone, the Udalooper here. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I will guide you through one of the most complex processes in No Man's Sky, Stasis Device production. Once set up, this ensures a daily profit of billions of units. We will construct an oxygen farm, a uranium mine, and a crop harvesting complex, then craft 100 stasis devices to sell for 1.5 billion units. I will also reveal the maximum amount of money you can earn in a single trade. Yes, while the game has an overall unit cap of approximately 4.3 billion, there is also a limit to how much you can earn from one transaction. Oh boy, did I struggle to make this technically heavy video entertaining to watch. As you can probably tell from the background behind my character, I went all out with creativity. I decided to build a functional base on a gas giant with extreme weather, storms, hurricanes, tornadoes and gravity anomalies. I thought it was a funny idea, but I didn't expect it to turn out so creepy. Nevertheless, this is what I love most about this game. It gives you complete freedom of action, limited only by the boundaries of your imagination and creativity. At the end of the video, I will do my best to keep you entertained with a bit of unexpected action, just to wake up you after all the technical details in this step-by-step guide. If you've already seen guides on this topic, you probably know how complicated the process can be. But if you are new to the game, don't worry. I will explain and demonstrate everything step by step in the simplest way possible, sharing the best tips and tricks I've learned from crafting tens of thousands of these devices myself. No complex construction, no bugs, exploits or glitch building, just a clear, efficient and straightforward method. In fact, the main goal of this video is to dispel the myth that this process is only for veteran players who have spent hundreds, if not thousands, of hours in the game. Many believe that new players don't stand a chance at mastering this method, but that's simply not true. I sincerely hope that by watching this video from start to finish, you will be ready to start building your own production empire right away. Whether you are a beginner or an experienced player who has been hesitant to tackle this overwhelming process, now is the time to become a billionaire. Before we dive in, I want to thank you all for the amazing support on my 2025 beginner and progression guides. Your feedback motivates me to make even better videos for you. As always, I value your time, so let's get started. I have split the process into 8 steps, some of which are optional. However, I strongly recommend watching the entire video, as missing even one crucial detail could hinder the efficiency of your entire production process. Step number 1. To be on the same page with new players, I've completed the most crucial steps of the production setup process with a recently created character intended for my beginner's guide. This character is only a few hours into the game, having just reached the space anomaly for the first time and acquired a Sentinel interceptor, a process explained in my ultimate progression guide for 2025. If you haven't seen that video, I highly recommend it, as it contains tons of valuable hints and tricks for faster progression through the mid-game. In the next several steps, we will be setting up an oxygen farm, a uranium mine and a crop harvesting facility. For this, we will need a survey device, cost 440 nanites to unlock, and 3 S-Class movement system upgrades, which are crucial for efficient traversal. Then you find an S-Class movement upgrade, buy one, save the game to refresh the shop, and buy another. This will cost around 2000 nanites, but acquiring nanites is easy. Even 10 minutes of relaxed fishing can earn 800 nanites. Gather 139 salvage data to unlock all necessary blueprints. It took me precisely 1 hour to collect this in a new save. I detailed the process in my beginner's guide for 2025, so if you are new to the game, take the time to watch it. One crucial tip for new players: get those movement upgrades as soon as you can. Without them, your jetpack depletes in seconds, making traversal frustrating. With them, you will be soaring like an eagle, vastly improving your ability to navigate planets. Stock up on fuel for your spaceship, uranium for launch thrusters, tritium or pyrite for the pulse engine, and warp cells or hypercores for interstellar warps, in case you need to search for the right planets in different systems. For a production facility like an oxygen farm, you will need approximately 1,500 chromatic metal, 700 magnetized ferrite, 500 gold, 500 condensed carbon, 300 pure ferrite, 160 metal plating, 100 carbon, 100 sodium, and 40 silicate powder. These numbers are rounded estimates to ensure you have everything required under all possible circumstances. Most of these resources can be obtained at space stations from trade terminals and visiting pilots. The total cost for the materials needed for the first 4 steps of this setup is around 5 million units, which is relatively small compared to the price of just one salvaged Sentinel interceptor. At the anomaly, unlock the following blueprints: cylindrical room or deep water chamber, which is actually cheaper and offers a stunning view, foundation, biodome, landing pad, galactic trade terminal, solar panel, battery, electromagnetic generator, cloaking unit, mineral and gas extractors, supply depot, and medium refiner. If you struggle to obtain 500 condensed carbon because stations and pilots on normal difficulty don't sell oxygen or carbon, refine it at your base using the medium refiner that you've just unlocked at the anomaly. Once you have gathered all the necessary resources and technologies, grab some water, because we need to stay hydrated even while gaming, say goodbye to your real-life responsibilities for a couple of hours, and let's jump into this. Step number 2. Oxygen hotspots can be found on lush, toxic, and radioactive planets, but I recommend sticking to lush worlds since they are more convenient. Setting up an oxygen farm begins with locating a hidden oxygen deposit and securing a power source for your future farm. If you are lucky, you might even team a flying creature, giving you a personal, free-to-use flying craft for faster movement across the planet, but the chances of finding one are rather slim. So, how exactly do we locate these hidden spots? Your multi-tools survey device allows you to track hotspots by adding additional survey options to your analysis visor. You can switch between these options by pressing 1 or 3, gaining access to 3 additional survey modes: power, mineral, and gas. These function similarly to target sweep mode. The closer you are to the target, the louder the beeping. The Witcher 3 fans who watch this video will be exceptionally excited about this moment. Here is a small hint. Even if your visor doesn't display a specific hotspot, you may still hear a faint beeping sound. By centering on the sound and moving in that direction, you will eventually reach a point where the visor will start showing the distance to the target. First, you need to locate a gas hotspot and confirm that it's an oxygen hotspot. This is where the most frustrating part of this step comes into play. Even if you find a gas or mineral hotspot, you won't know for sure what type it is until you complete the analysis process by moving closer. It could be a different type of gas or mineral. This is where patience and persistence are required. Before closing in, all you will see is the class of potential yield, ranging from C to S. C class has the weakest concentration of resources, S class has the strongest. However, I wouldn't waste time trying to find an S-class hotspot. It can take a long time to find one, and the difference in extraction rates isn't that significant. The maximum extraction rates for all types of yields are capped and have diminishing returns, meaning you won't be able to harvest significantly more per hour from an S-class hotspot compared to a C-class one. Besides, you can always place as many extractors as needed to reach your desired extraction rate, saving yourself the trouble of searching for an elusive S-class hotspot. By the way, you can grab some extra oxygen from a toxic hazardous plant before destroying it, a handy trick especially for new players. Once you find an oxygen hotspot, move around with your analysis visor activated to locate the highest concentration for better extraction efficiency. However, don't stress about hitting the max concentration. Sometimes it's not even possible. If you end up with 1–2% less than the max concentration, it's totally fine. Mark the spot by deploying a marker beacon. Just be careful not to accidentally summon it elsewhere later, or you will lose the location and have to search for it again. You can also place a safe beacon instead to mark the area. Now try to find an electromagnetic power hotspot within 600 units or steps of your oxygen hotspot. Why is the 600 step range crucial? Because the radius of your base computer is exactly 300 steps, meaning the maximum covered distance from one side to the other is 600 steps. Glitch building can extend this radius, but as I mentioned in the intro of this video, we are not using any exploits or glitches. It's a personal preference, but for me, it ruins the positive gameplay experience. My entire production setup, which generates 130 stasis devices daily, was built without any glitch building involved. If you discover an electromagnetic power hotspot more than 600 steps away from your oxygen hotspot, this setup won't work. Then you place a base computer in the middle, it must cover both hotspots. Otherwise, you won't be able to build extractors there. This step is one of the most time-consuming and requires a lot of patience to find the right spot. If you are unsuccessful in a particular area, hop into your ship, take a short trip and try again elsewhere. Eventually, you will find the right location. Practice makes perfect. If you are really lucky, you might even find a gas, mineral and power hotspot within 600 steps of each other, effectively hitting 3 birds with one stone. While rare, it is possible. I do have one such spot in my production setup. However, if you can't find a suitable energy hotspot within 600 steps or don't have time to keep searching, there is an alternative way to power your oxygen factory: solar energy. That's exactly what I demonstrate in this step of the guide, how to set up an oxygen farm with a solar power supply. Once you find an oxygen hotspot, place a base computer nearby and begin the farm setup by building gas extractors on top of the hotspot. Some players stack them on top of each other for better efficiency, but I prefer placing them side by side for a more natural look. You will extract tons of resources anyway. To make construction easier, use building camera mode. Press Z to open the build menu, select the desired structure, press B to enter building camera mode for faster and more convenient placement. You can move the camera with your movement keys and if needed, extend its range by rapidly pressing B twice. This lets you build remotely from a safe spot within your base limits, making it much more convenient than running around manually placing wires, something I used to do myself before discovering this feature. Unfortunately, many in-game mechanics are poorly explained in the menus, often requiring players dozens or even hundreds of hours to discover them. The resources we've prepared allow to build 5 extractors and a dozen supply depots, a solid starting point. You can expand later as needed, but keep in mind diminishing returns and the need for additional power to support more extractors. After constructing the 5 extractors, build a foundation nearby for easier solar panel setup using the following principle: 2 solar panels per 1 extractor, 1 battery per 2 solar panels, a few extra solar panels for powering a teleporter and other structures. I won't dive into the full power gain consumption formula as that would overcomplicate the guide. Just follow this simple rule: your available energy should be at least twice the amount of energy used, since solar panels don't generate power at night. During nighttime, your farm will rely on batteries for power. To ensure stability, check your battery charge during the night. The game's day-night cycle lasts 30 real-time minutes, 15 minutes per phase. If your batteries drain in less than 15 minutes, add more solar panels to balance the system. Once power is stable, follow these steps. Connect all extractors with power wires and double check that they are all powered. Build supply depots nearby. Avoid placing too many near your teleporter to ensure faster loading times. Connect extractors to depots using supply pipes to establish a resource network. Build a final supply depot near your teleporter to quick access to stored oxygen. If your spaceship is in the way of a pipeline, it will disrupt construction. Move it to another location before finalizing connections. Congratulations, your oxygen farm is complete. From now on, you no longer need to mine oxygen, carbon or condensed carbon manually. The farm will produce tens of thousands of oxygen daily, even when you are offline. This is the whole point of setting up a farm, a constant passive resource flow. The timer indicating time until full is a real-time countdown. You can expand storage at any time by adding more depots. Storage expansion is unlimited, allowing you to stockpile resources for days without losing profits. Build a landing pad nearby to prevent your starship from spawning inside your base's structures, then teleporting in. While I've shown you a fast, efficient and straightforward oxygen farm setup, No Man's Sky offers unlimited customization. You can even bury supply depots underground to keep the area looking natural. Be creative. Here you can do anything you want. This is your world, as Bob Ross would say while painting his masterpieces. If you plan to expand your storage capacity, buy metal plating in bulk from wealthy star systems, if you have access to them. NPC pilots there often sell up to 200 per trade, making it much easier to stock up. Step number 3. Now let's set up a uranium mine. The process is similar to previous setup, but with some crucial building tips and the addition of an electromagnetic power supply. In the next step, we will also expand the base to provide crop resources, making it multi-purpose. While scanning the planet, the list of minerals on the right is prioritized, with the most common minerals at the top. Keep this in mind, as searching for a top listed hotspot is usually much faster than searching for one lower in priority. Repeat the searching process until you find a uranium deposit. Mark the spot by deploying a marker beacon or a safe beacon, then search for an electromagnetic hotspot. This time we got lucky and found one within the necessary distance. Deploy another safe beacon to mark this spot and check if the distance between the electromagnetic hotspot and the uranium deposit is less than 600 steps. Great, it is. Now place a base computer somewhere near the middle of these two locations. Before placing it, make sure that the distance to each spot is not more than 300 steps. Otherwise, it will be outside the base area and you won't be able to construct extractors without glitch building. Once the base computer is set, go to either hotspot and start construction. If you lack resources, gather them on site or set up a quick teleport powered by a biofuel reactor to resupply. Connect all extractors with wires and to save time, grab a wire and start pulling it toward the energy hotspot. Here is an important tip. While pulling the wire in building camera mode, keep it close to the ground to ensure it stays green. If you raise it too high, it will turn red, indicating that you cannot build in the air. This is useful for identifying when a connection is too long and requires a temporary connection point. If you see the message "cannot build, connection too long," move the camera back until the wire turns green again. Then click to create a connection point close to the ground. After that, simply click on the connection point and continue pulling the wire to your target location. You can create as many connection points as needed within the base limits. For this guide, I also included a safe construction step to show you how to build on hazardous planets or during storms without exposure. If the terrain is uneven, first place a foundation to level the ground and prevent terrain regrowth. Then construct a deep water chamber or cylindrical room on top and install a holodoor. Add an access ramp if necessary. Your shelter will now protect you from hazardous conditions and predators, and you can continue construction from inside using build camera mode. Find the connection point you set earlier and continue pulling the wire toward the electromagnetic hotspot. If your starship is in the way, move it to avoid interference. For the purpose of this guide, I deliberately included these potential obstacles to demonstrate common issues during construction. Next, construct 5 electromagnetic generators using the same placement method as gas or mineral extractors, either stacked or placed adjacently. Connect them all with a wire and link them to the connection point powering your uranium extractors. I also recommend placing a battery nearby to monitor energy consumption and integrating it into the power network. At this point, you will see the true advantage of securing an electromagnetic power source instead of relying on solar panels. With a constant 24/7 power supply, you no longer need to ensure double the power capacity for nighttime operations. Electromagnetic generators are also the best option for large-scale crop farms since biodomes consume a lot of energy. After setting up the power, return to the uranium extraction site and double-check that everything is properly connected and functioning as intended. Then, construct as many supply depots as needed and link them to the extractors using supply pipes. Extend a pipeline to your harvest collection point using the same method as wire pulling. Keep it close to the ground and create connection points when necessary. I prefer to place the final collection depot inside the shelter to minimize harvesting time, making it both convenient and safe. After confirming that everything works properly, your mine will be fully operational, producing nearly 30,000 uranium daily, indefinitely. The only improvements you may want to make in the future are expanding storage capacity or adding additional extractors to increase production. Construct a teleporter. If placed inside a deep water chamber or cylindrical room, it will be automatically powered, which is another benefit of these modules. Finally, consider adding a trade terminal if needed. Also, if you want, you can move the base computer inside the shelter by pressing Z, selecting the base computer, pressing C, moving it inside and fixing it in a new spot with the left mouse button. Additionally, construct a landing pad to prevent your ship from spawning inside the shelter. If you don't like visible wires all over your base, construct an electrical cloaking unit, which will hide them. The wiring will still be visible in building mode. If you don't like the appearance of a cloaking unit, simply bury it underground. It will still function perfectly. Rename your base as you like and take a screenshot. That's it. Your brand new uranium extraction factory is fully operational and will supply you indefinitely. Check your oxygen farm and enjoy a first free oxygen supply. No more mining for oxygen or uranium ever, just pure profit. Step number 4. In next 2 steps, I will guide you through the basics of efficient crop farming in No Man's Sky. While these steps aren't strictly necessary for Stasis Device production, it can be useful to set up a backup supply of crops in case you run out while crafting. To craft Stasis devices, you need 6 types of crops, so we will establish 6 biodomes, each growing 1 crop type: frost crystals, selenium, cactus flesh, star bulb, gamma root, and physium. The numbers indicate the amount needed to fully plant each biodome. Additionally, crops require raw materials for initial planting: dioxide, phosphorus, pyrite, paraffinium, and uranium. Each biodome also requires 25 magnetized ferrite and 5 glass to construct. So before you begin, make sure you have 150 magnetized ferrite and 30 glass for 6 biodomes. New players might wonder where to get so many crops and resources. Flying around and gathering them from different biomes isn't practical. It will take too much time. Luckily, you can buy everything you need from pilots at space stations and trade outposts. To speed up the process, use an economy scanner to locate a trade outpost and land there. Buy all available crops from landed pilots. If necessary, save and reload at a safe beacon or save point to respawn pilots faster. Since No Man's Sky generates items randomly, it might take a while, but using this method I was able to buy all necessary materials and crops in about 40 minutes while recording footage for this guide. While gathering resources, refine silicate powder at your base to produce glass for the biodomes. Once you have everything, you are ready to build. Step number 5. Now, let's put that spare energy at our uranium extraction base to good use. This construction is simple and efficient. Extend the deepwater chamber with 2 straight corridors and 1 X-shaped corridor. Repeat this pattern, 2 straight corridors, 1 X-shaped corridor. Do this 3 times. Attach a biodome to each X-shaped connector. This method is fast, easy, and looks great. If you have extra resources, you can replace the straight corridors with glass corridors for a more impressive design. The best part? You don't need to connect the biodomes to an external power source. Since these modules snap together, they automatically share power. Your farming facility is now ready. Each biodome holds 16 crop slots, so carefully plant your crops, ensuring you don't miss any. I didn't mention this earlier to avoid overwhelming new players, but you will need to unlock all crop blueprints at the space anomaly before planting. This costs 21 salvaged data in total. However, you can also acquire the crops for free as storyline rewards, so the choice is yours. Planting is quick and easy, and once it's done, your farm is ready to produce essential resources for crafting stasis devices. Based on my experience, I consider this step optional for several reasons. The first reason is that crops have different growth times. Frost crystals take 1 hour, star bulb, gamma root and Physium take 4 hours, and selenium and cactus flesh take 16 hours. Since harvest cycles vary, most players will only harvest once per day. However, if you skip a day, you will lose the harvest for that day. Another reason is that you need massive amounts of crops for large-scale stasis device production. To craft 10 stasis devices, you need 4000 gamma root, 3000 frost crystals, 2000 selenium, 2000 star bulb, 1000 cactus flesh and 500 Physium. However, harvesting from 6 biodomes only provides 800 gamma root, 800 frost crystals, 800 selenium, 400 star bulb, 1600 cactus flesh and 400 Physium. If you scale up production, you will quickly outgrow this setup. Expanding production becomes impractical at large scales. To craft 100 stasis devices per day, you would need 40,000 gamma root, which would require 50 biodomes for gamma root alone, not counting the hour 5 crops. That's a huge amount of running and harvesting manually around, which can become annoying rather than fun. While crop farming is a useful backup, it isn't the most efficient method for high-volume stasis device crafting. However, if you prefer a self-sufficient approach, this setup provides a solid foundation. Crops can be effectively multiplied by refining them with raw materials that can be harvested through automated extraction facilities. This allows you to refine resources passively even while AFK or offline, only checking on occasionally to restart the process. Since refiners have a limit on how much materials can be processed at once, it's a good idea to manage production efficiently. For this reason, I recommend setting up a small garden as a backup in case you run out of crops, allowing you to multiply them via refining. However, you can also skip biodomes entirely, purchase the initial crops from NPC pilots at trade outposts and rely solely on refinery-based production. If you choose the full refining approach like I did, in addition to an oxygen farm and uranium mine, you will need to establish 8 extra raw material extraction facilities. Gases such as nitrogen, radon, sulfurine and oxygen can be found in the atmospheres of various planets, while minerals like paraffinium, phosphorus, dioxide, cobalt, pyrite and uranium are present in specific planetary biomes. In total, you will need to establish 10 production facilities across different planets. While this may seem like a lot, once set up, each facility will provide an endless supply of resources. You don't have to do everything at once. Expanding step by step by setting up one facility every day or two will allow you to build a powerful production empire within weeks. Once operational, this setup will generate billions of units daily, eliminating the need to constantly salvage crashed Sentinel interceptors just to afford new upgrades. While salvaging interceptors is a decent mid-game money-making method, it can only generate a few 100 million units per hour at best. In contrast, Stasis Device production can generate up to 20 times more value in the same time frame, making it the most efficient way to earn wealth in No Man's Sky. Step number 6. A functional refining base is essential for processing raw materials into valuable resources, storing spare supplies, and crafting high-value products. With a well-structured base, you can optimize your workflow for crafting, upgrades, or selling refined goods for maximum profit. Establishing a refining base is simple and quick. I have developed a setup that allows me to create a fully operational base in just 15 minutes, no matter where I am. Keep in mind that the number of medium and large refiners placed close together is limited, so find your own convenient way to place them strategically. A freighter can serve as a refining base, offering free energy and unlimited space for refiners. However, many players have reported that resources stored in refiners on freighters can sometimes disappear. Common causes include leaving the freighter while refining, using teleporters, warping between systems, entering the space anomaly, or engaging in multiplayer. Personally, I prefer to establish my refining base on a planet, as I enjoy open spaces and the immersion of the game's world. Watching storms roll in, observing exotic creatures, and witnessing breathtaking sunsets make the waiting time for refining more enjoyable. One issue I have encountered is that refined resources always disappear if you switch to another save before the refining process is completed. The same problem occurs with automated fish traps. While they work as intended within the same save, switching to another save and returning will leave them empty. To avoid this bug, I recommend creating a restore point before refining and ensuring you don't switch saves while the process is ongoing. Step number 7. It takes me only 5 minutes to gather the resources needed to craft 130 stasis devices across all my extraction facilities. So once your production empire is established, gathering becomes quick and efficient. Refining crops take more time, of course, but as I mentioned before, this is a relaxed phase. There you simply load materials into refiners and let them do the work. While the refining process is ongoing, you are free to do whatever you want. Complete daily Quicksilver missions, go AFK, or even log off. The refiners will keep working just fine. Simply remember to restart them periodically, depending on the materials being processed. The standard refining cycle is around 12 minutes, but this can vary depending on the specific materials involved in stasis device production, so managing the process wisely is key. For example, when I step away for real-life tasks or focus on daily Quicksilver missions, I load refiners with materials that require longer processing times. Then I am actively crafting my daily stasis device output. I switch to fast cycle materials to maximize efficiency. Make sure you have enough space in your inventory by transferring items to storage containers or our inventories. To craft 100 stasis devices in one go, you will need around 50 free inventory slots. Refine the necessary resources and ensure they are all available in your Kzzkt inventory before you start crafting. This preparation provides the extra amount of resources needed to produce 99 stasis devices at once. Why 99 instead of 100? Because in normal difficulty, raw material stacks cap at 9,999 instead of 10,000. Crafting 100 would require additional stacks, creating unnecessary complications. It is much easier to craft 99 in one go and then handle any remaining materials separately. honestly, this awkward 9,999 limit reminds me of sneaky, manipulative pricing strategies in supermarkets. We all know 10 is easier to manage than 9.99, yet marketing experts and psychology researchers keep pushing those misleading prices. Also, before crafting, change the UI interaction speed from the default hold for important option to always instant. This removes the delay in crafting, buying or selling items, allowing all UI actions to happen instantly. Making this change will significantly reduce crafting time. Step number 8. To initiate the crafting process, you will need to unlock all blueprints for valuable products marked in green at the space anomaly. Blueprints marked in orange are used to craft fusion igniters, which cost the same amount of units but follow a slightly different crafting process. Alright, now let's get cooking, shall we? If you are on a stormy or hazardous planet, take shelter inside the protective cupola. Then select the Stasis Device and press E to open the item assembly steps. The crafting interface might look like a messy spider web at first, but don't worry, I will guide you through it. In just a few minutes, you will know exactly how to manage it on your own. I've marked raw materials inputs in red, which we can simply ignore since we've already prepared all the necessary materials in our inventory. I've also divided crafted materials into 4 tiers, with the Stasis Device as the higher tier, and broken down the crafting process into 12 simple steps. Don't be intimidated by the number of steps, they are all the same and it mostly comes down to quick clicking. I will demonstrate the entire process, crafting from left to right, to give you a clear example. To avoid overwhelming new players, I won't bother with the exact names of crafted materials. Instead, we will focus on a straightforward, step-by-step routine using simple numbers. After crafting tier 1 resources for a step, immediately proceed to tier 2 for that step. Crafting all tier 1 resources at once would overload your inventory. This approach is the fastest and most reliable. Some tier 1 components are required in 2 different steps and could be crafted all at once, 198 units. But for simplicity, I stick to crafting 99. If pressing the craft button repeatedly feels tedious, you could explore using macro features to automate it. Once you have finished crafting all tier 3 materials, click on the Stasis Device icon to craft your first device. Unfortunately, the game doesn't allow you to craft all devices in item assembly mode, but that's not a problem. In fact, it's even better. Give your right hand a break after all those rapid clicks spent creating materials. Simply find the Stasis Device in your inventory, target it with your cursor and press E as fast as you can. That's it. Easy money. Once you have crafted your daily supply of Stasis devices, sell them in systems with a positive price index to maximize your profits. I've noticed that technology-based systems often offer better prices. Now, to answer one of the questions from the start of the video. What's the maximum amount of money you can earn from a single sale in No Man's Sky? It turns out you can't sell more than 130 Stasis devices in one go. Selling more than this displays a negative price, which seems like a bug or perhaps a strange limitation set by the developers. This means you can earn just over 2 billion units per sale, but be careful. If you try to sell more than 130 Stasis devices for a negative price, you will still only get the capped profit of approximately 2.1 billion units, even if selling 1,000 devices. So be careful when trading large quantities. I hope this guide has made Stasis device production easy and clear for you. I've shared my experiences and best practices, but No Man's Sky is a vast game with endless possibilities. If you know a better or more efficient method, please share it in the comments below so we can all learn and improve together. And remember, in this universe there are no real dangers for you. Even in the harshest environments, you are the danger. You are the one who knocks. Of course, I couldn't leave you without some entertainment and action after such a detailed guide. Ever wondered what it feels like to jump from the highest peak in an infinite universe? Join me for the bonus content as I take the ultimate leap of faith in No Man's Sky, skydiving from the tallest mountain I've ever discovered. If this video was helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more No Man's Sky guides. Your support truly means a lot. Play smart, earn more, and I'll see you all in the next video. That's a pretty high mountain. What do you think, AI? Can we get down to that valley to make a camp for the night?
Weather warning. Incoming storm.
Damn it! Give me a sec. I'm coming up with a 32.33, repeating of course, percentage of survival. That's a lot better than we usually do, right? Alright, time's up. Let's do this. Leroy Jenkins!